Um, Will Hodges here with ProShield. Today we're going to cover how to verify contractors and make sure they're legitimate. Um, you know, Last year homeowners lost $1.2 billion in contractor fraud. Contractor fraud is not going away, and there's a lot of reasons for that. We want to make sure we give you why you're not going to be next, and we're going to make sure that you're not next. Now, I'm going to tell you there is not a great um, there's just not a great environment out there right now to ensure that there's not a high rate of contractor fraud. And I'm going to tell you some of the reasons for that. Before we get into these very clear steps, one, two, three, four, five, of how you can go through and do this work yourself, and I recommend you do it somehow. I want to tell you a little bit about why this is happening out there, and it's only gotten worse. So we have a lot of people that are getting into the trades because the demand for trades is so high. Um, you know, the length of time you wait on roofers in most markets, bathroom model, kitchen remodel. I think in the last 5 years, I've seen people who went from running really, really mediocre, um, not very good service companies, literally have a year-long wait with outrageous margins and really pushing the price up. Um, it's been pretty extreme, and I think the reason a lot of what you're going to see in these contractors getting in and coming and putting their name out there, they might have something very kitschy to do with your local region, or they might reference. I know there's a lot of in certain areas of the country this really works. There's a lot of religious overtones to instill that trust. Trust us. Unfortunately, behind the scenes, there is a lot of fraud. There's a lot of cutting corners you don't really know about as a homeowner that, 9 times out of 10, it may not affect you. Your contractor doesn't have insurance. He's not got workers' comp for his employees. And lucky you, nothing happened on your property and there's no problem. The biggest issue with that is it can be your problem. It can be your problem really quick. And if you don't do something about it up front, the amount of liability you have in the back end is huge. And we're not even talking about can they do the job? Are they going to get the job done right? We're not even talking about that level. We're talking about just going way back to what if something bad happens and your contractor is running a shady business. And, unfortunately, I've seen some actual contractors that have really good work. They can do quality work, but they just don't care about this stuff. And unfortunately, they may not care about it, but when something happens, it's going to be on you. You're the homeowner. You take responsibility in the end. And, I've seen workers sue the homeowner and win. I've seen, contractors destroy a home and the insurance policy not cover it because you didn't get the right contractor. There's just a lot of ways to get defrauded. And now we're not even talking about the people who show up, take a deposit, and ghost on you or do a half-ass job and never come back. Those are what makes up most of the fraud. And why? Well, because they can. Getting somebody out just to do an estimate sometimes is really hard. Verifying them is even harder. So, I'm going to go through in 7 easy steps and tell you exactly how to go through a verification process. Some of them will not be applicable to your area or region. Some of them will be applicable to your area and region. So you really have to, gauge this one way or the other if it applies to you. And if it doesn't, don't give me a hassle. All right, just trying to help. And just so you know, if you are looking for contractors right now and you want to skip this, or if you're watching live, which I'm sure it's a new channel, I'm sure nobody's watching this live, but hey, maybe one day. Um, I want you to know that we have people right now able to take calls, and we do this vetting for everybody. That's what ProShield does. We do all the vetting up front. You only get verified contractors. We don't spam you. We don't hassle you. We're not there to steal your data. We're getting to get in other videos where I expose some of these really bad online things you see on Facebook, on YouTube, like these scams that are just there to steal your data. You can see our series on your data as well, that we're going to really expose what's really going on here and how to protect yourself online from these people. But if you want to call, between the hours of 9 to 3 Eastern time. Our call center will actually walk you through it. We do all the research for you. We can set those up, and we set those up directly with the contractor. Then we kind of step out of the process, and then we can come back and support you. So if you want to do that, you can call this number. It's nationwide, almost every major city. If you go to Pro Shield Services, you can actually see that you can search for all of our contractors there. You can do it yourself, or you can call. So, I'd say give us a call. Our agents are really, really helpful. I'm going to leave this number up for a little bit while we're covering some of these things. Okay, so let's get on to it. The first thing we're going to talk about is license verification. So, license verification is probably the most shaky of the things you're going to need nationwide. Only 27 states, I believe, right now for most of the trades require licensing. If they do, there's going to be a license board in your area. If you reach out to us, we can help step you through that. We know how to search almost every region. That's really, we're trying to automate that, but that's a really tough process because sometimes it's done by county, sometimes it's done by state. But only 27 places are requiring it right now. So if you're in one of those states that does require it, you definitely want to look up and see, are they licensed? So again, that's going to be state by state. I can get into some other things when we're not doing live, and we're not going to make this hugely long live today either. I can get into the details state by state and show you how to go through and look up those licenses. So I'll do one of those videos. If you comment down below on any of our videos, happy to jump in and do those first. Yeah, let's get into it. So license, you're going to want to know, is it active, expired, or suspended, right? So a lot of times it can be expensive, or they have to go through training, or they have to pay a fee, and they don't want to do that. Any extra fee is just more money out of their pocket for their shady contracting business, and they're not going to want to do it. So one thing you'll hear a lot, and I've heard this myself a few times, is, oh, I'm going to get that renewed. It's up for renewal. I'm going to get it renewed. I'm working on it. Well, if you go to look at the site, usually they're expired or suspended, and they're never going to do that, right? So what does it mean if you don't have a licensed contractor and your state requires it? Well, a few things can happen. Um, Immediately, if there's any warranty work or something goes on, you don't know if these people are going to be around. You may not get warranty work on it. If you can't trust them to do that part, are they really going to follow up and fix something in 6 months when something breaks or something's not quite right? Probably not. Also, your insurance company might look into that and say, hey, this was done. Let's say you have an insurance claim at some point. They go, hey, this wasn't done by a licensed contractor. We're not covering this damage, right? You find damage, good luck. It's on you. So it could be more money out of pocket. Overall, I think if you have to say, how do I legitimize my contractor in a state or a region that requires licensing? If they don't have that and it's expired or suspended, you're going to look at one on why. A lot of those licensing boards have complaint centers as well. So you can go through and look at complaints. So yeah, the biggest red flag you want to look out here for is the guy who's just getting it, or, oh, the paperwork's pending, or, oh, don't trust that. I've already filled out the application. The state's just slow. Bull. That's it. Okay. Insurance, right? Um, License doesn't mean insured. So, uh, insurance is really, really important. And the reason for the contractor to carry insurance is important is if they don't have it, the only remedy you have if an accident happens to your home, uh, tree falls in your home, if you're doing some landscaping work, you put in a new kitchen, and they hit a gas line and part of your home blows up. No, let's hope it doesn't happen, but that could happen. Then what happens? You go to the contractor and you say, okay, I want to use your general liability to fix my home for the thing you broke. Well, if they don't have it, you're not getting it fixed. So immediately you're kind of boned. And if you choose to go to your insurance company, there may be terms in there that get you pushed out of your own home insurance, come out of directly into your own pocket. And unfortunately, there's horror stories abound about people losing their homes over bad contractor work, and that's just not what we want, right? Um, you don't want to get $2,000 off going with the cheapest guy, so that you get, $100,000 in liability laid on you. It's really, really neat, interesting. And I'm going to share with you a site. If any of your contractors goes, that's just too expensive. You don't need it. Your home insurance covers everything. I'm going to tell you how much of just a fraud it is. So if you go like, and this is something that, that my wife's business, actually, she's a contractor in some landscaping, and she uses this site here, Simply Business, and there's lots of different ways to get business insurance. Literally, you can get insured the same day, and I don't get paid by them. I'm not like affiliated with them at all. We use them. A lot of contractor friends I know use them because they're pretty much a quick, easy way online to get insured fast and have that policy in hand. And they have a nice little feature where you can kick out a policy insurance quote and boom. And it has it for a ton of trades. It's super cheap. I mean, most of these things are not over $100 a month. So if a contractor charging you $80,000 for a roof can't afford a $100 a month insurance policy, something is wrong. Flag, flag, flag. Okay. So, I mean, I'm showing you right there, you know, there's no reason not to have insurance. And there's no reason why they can't provide you proof of insurance. So, everybody who is on the ProShield site, they had to go through a process to send their insurance in that is validated every 6 months. We check up on that because, believe me, it is the most important thing for them to do, right? So, insurance. Now, some projects that are bigger need a bonding, and bonding. I'm going to do a whole video on just the difference between insurance and bonding, right? But some big projects require a certain amount of money to be set aside in bond to cover any particular issues. And it's way more complicated than this video I want to get into, but you may or may not need a bonding agent for a project, or you might. Again, a whole video we could do around that. We're going to cover it. But let's just say insurance, general liability is big. Workers' comp is the second big insurance policy that I think is important, especially for roofing jobs. A lot of injuries on roofing jobs. I mean, it's obvious. I don't have to tell you. We can show some videos. We probably should have showed some videos. Um, and somebody falls off the roof, they're covered, right? If the contractor has workers' comp, they're gonna be covered. Their injury is gonna be covered. Their hospitalization, all this stuff is gonna fix them up. Anything goes. It's gonna be pushed onto the contractor with their insurance, their general liability, and their workers' comp. Now, what if that roofer falls off that doesn't have workers' comp, and they go to that shady contractor and they say, "Hey, I got hurt. I got all these doctor bills," and the contractor just folds up shop. They just they don't even have an entity, and they're like, "Sue me," and they walk away from it. That homeowner got injured on your property. Guess who they're going to sue next, and successfully, because you didn't do your job when you hired the person, and you are required, to do that job, right? You're required to um, check those people out and make sure they have workers' comp for their workers. And workers' comp's not just for the workers to protect you. Again, big liability issue. Okay, step three. Um, do they have a real company set up? And now, I know companies are shields that really people use to protect themselves from liability, but here's why it's important that, you might want to ensure that this is not just a guy. Businesses that are legitimate also have assets, insurance, things you can legally sue if you have to take them to court and get judgments against. People, usually they hide a lot of those assets and they may not have anything to go after, and it's much harder to go after an individual. So you want to make sure they're actually a real business entity, and every state has usually a secretary of state. It can be, it's different for every single state. I won't get into each one of them. I will show you, like for Texas, this is the secretary of state. If you really want to look in here, you can do a search. There's also some places you can go in here and just search for um, is this a legitimate business? You have to make a login to do this. There are some states that don't require you. You can look up generally if they're already a company. This one is like $1 to search. But they have a site you can go and you can verify. Hey, you're going to spend $50,000 on a new bathroom, or $100,000 on a roof, or even 20, even $5,000. And if you're not willing to spend $10 and figure it out, that's a problem. Now, again, selfless pitch, we do this for you so you don't have to do this. But finding out if you have a real contractor is really, really important. Okay, next step. um Reviews. Let's talk about reviews. You can go and pull up reviews, and I highly recommend you do that. Reviews are, that's how we live now. And I think that it's really, you know, between Yelp and Google reviews and things like that, you can do a lot of research and you can get a lot of opinions. But I want you to notice something here. Let's just look at roofing in Dallas, right? We have a lot of companies that come up, and here's all their profiles, their websites. Man, this is a lot of work. This is just a lot of work. A lot of these people are going to be, they've got a lot of reviews. Some of them have a few. But look at this. It's all 4.9, 4.9, 4.9. I mean, the way reviews are set up, most of these companies will offer somebody something like, hey, you know, we'll be happy to do XYZ for you if you'll put up a review. I'm not saying they're fake. I'm just saying a lot of times you're only going to get the positive ones. And what does it mean if everybody's a 5-star? It means you really don't know all that much. This doesn't tell you if they're licensed. It doesn't tell you insured. It tells you, some people got by, and this is a useful service, right? You can look through here and read all these reviews. But like, are you going to read 38 of these and 46 of those? And when you get through with it, what do you really, really know? That they did some jobs that people were happy with. And that's great, right? You don't want to go with anybody who's got bad reviews. And I'm not knocking this. We use this in our sentiment analysis and things when we're looking at overall, how do people feel about this? But it's actually not going to tell you how your project is going to come out. It doesn't tell you if they show up right away. It doesn't tell you if there was delays. A lot of people are just happy to have the job done at the end, so the reviews get, you know. But you definitely want to start with reviews. You definitely want to start there, and spend the time. Now, obviously, you don't have to do that. You can use services like ProShield or there's other services out there. I'm not going to name them because they're competition, but there's other services that go through and do this work for you and do more validated background stuff. You could use those services to have a better outcome as well. It really depends on how much work you want to put into all this, because there's usually a lot of options. Unfortunately, they're not all kind of the same. Okay, next step. Um, what if your contractor goes bankrupt mid-project? I just saw a video yesterday of a guy who's, one of many customers who has a hole in his ground for his new pool, but no pool. But he spent $100,000 getting that hole drilled, and the guy's just out of business. He's never going to finish it. He's got to go and start over with somebody else. And then guess what? They're not going to give him a huge discount for a hole, right? He's going to pay. He already paid for more than that hole was worth, and now he's going to pay double to get that project finished. How do you know? This is the tough one. We can't dig into their finances. We can't go, you can use some length of service. Like, have they been around for 5, 10, 20 years? Are they brand new? Do they have a website? Do they have their own website? Is it well maintained? Do they have recent pictures? Everyone wants to put stuff on social media, but that's really simple to do. If you have your own website, it's a lot more work. You got to put more effort into it. Has it been updated recently? Are they keeping up with it? Can you look back 10 years of successful projects? Does it look like it was professionally made, not thrown together? Um, does it tell you if they're financially stable? No, it's a hint. Another thing, that if they have cash flow problems, they ask for outrageous deposits. Deposits usually are materials or maybe on smaller projects, half the project up front and half on completion. But most contractors will say, "Hey, here's labor, here's materials," and we're going to do some more videos in the future. Make sure you watch for how to read estimates and proposals. We have a whole system we're working on to demystify those for you. Stay tuned to us for that. But really, if you look at um, their estimate, they should have labor and at least in detail. And we don't see this enough, but at least in detail, we should see you know labor and materials broken out. And that's the bare minimum. If they put it all under one project, it's just like roof, $50,000, run the other way as fast as humanly possible. Stop accepting these bids. Stop encouraging this behavior. Just say no. This is toxic, right? So materials and labor should be broken out. Now, a lot of contractors, rightly so, will say, "Hey, I'm going to buy all these things up front. And if you decide to cancel, guess what? You bought the materials. I'm going to deliver them. They're going to be at your doorstep, but I'm not paying for them." So you pay for the materials up front so that they can buy those materials, and that's completely legitimate. I mean, they got to cover themselves in that scenario to make sure that you're a serious buyer. They can put you on the calendar and they can do that work, because sometimes materials can take weeks to get in, depending on the project, especially if you picked an odd color, an upscaled siding, or windows. You got to give them time to acquire the materials. So but you see these guys come in and go, "Hey, no, no, I need 75% up front of labor and everything." Run. That is a scam. I don't care how busy they are, how much they're trying to convince you. 99% of the time, that's a problem that they're running out of cash, right? So, um, a lot of contractors are really good at what they do, and they're really bad business people. And I'm sorry, it's true. We're not all good at stuff. I have a lot of flaws. There's some things I just cannot do. And I know that, so I usually outsource that stuff for people who are better than me. Some of these people, like, they don't understand basic business and they do it themselves, and it's just poorly done. So they run out of cash a lot, or they got a spending problem, or they got a gambling problem. And, you know, I actually kind of wished I had the money to have a gambling problem, but I don't. I gambled it all away. Um, so, how can you check for financial stability? Look for warning signs, right? Older, rundown equipment, asking for too high deposits. Those things are going to be big, big warning flags. So, um, step 6, project specific qualifications. So, certain projects are going to require permits, especially electrical, plumbing, roofing. They're going to require manufacturer certifications. A lot of HVAC stuff require certain checks to be made to make sure that you have the proper HVAC requirements for that material to go in for a certain size home. So there's all these things you can do, and it's really project by project. If you have any questions on this, hit us up. We'll try to answer them directly in a video specific to your question. Just put it in the comments down below. We'd love to answer them specifically. There's too many to get into here, but you're going to look for if a contractor ever says, "Hey, we don't need that license," or "We don't need to pull a permit." I know a guy. He won't care. You'll be fine. You're probably not going to be fine, and that'll probably bite you in the ass later. Don't do it. Don't do it. No matter how much money you think it's going to save you, and how much harm could you possibly, don't do it. So, also, if they're anything that's really high end, sometimes contractors have to be certified in the product. And again, that's really specific, but it happens where, you say, "Hey, I want a really high end grade product," and you're going to want a certified installer for that. You got to double check with the manufacturer to find out if that contractor is certified to do it. If they're not, it might void your warranty. So I know what you're thinking. This is a lot of work. Uh, I don't have to do it because maybe I won't be bitten by any of these things. Um, you know, that is exactly why these scammers succeed. And I'm begging you, stop letting them succeed. As long as there's a market for people who have less understanding of the business that they're in, which There's no way, if you're living your life and you're not in this industry, you're going to know everything there is to know about roofing and windows and doors and quality and siding and flooring and painting. There's just no way. And if you're a DIY person who knows this, you're not watching this anyway. You're never going to hire a contractor. You're doing it yourself. And best of luck to you. And my envy goes out. But let's face it, if you're like most Americans and you're going to hire somebody, this is a big deal. It's a really big deal. So stop letting the scammers win, right? Now, in our shameless pitch of this, I'm going to tell you, what if I told you ProShield and our agents could do all this stuff for you? You can browse, you can do it yourself. Um, you can come to our site and just um, look through everything we have here. And I'm going to share my screen with you real quick so you can see this. I think I'm going to share it. I'm going to try to share it. There we go. Hello. Okay. So you can come to our site. We are digging into location by location. So we're not serving everybody yet. We want to. We're definitely working on it tirelessly to try to get as much as we can in here. Right now, we're serving 336 of the biggest city, densely populated areas. That covers about 73 million. You can come to our locations and find specific services we offer at each one. So come through here, browse, find your scenario, or if you want to just look by zip code, you can come in here and you can come in here like you're looking for a new roof. Come in, look for a new roof. Like again, if you want to talk to our agents, there's places to talk to our agents here. We have 2 routes for you. You can enter your zip code. So if I put myself in the heart of Dallas, you have 2 options. You can browse our listings and do a DIY search, and then find the contractors we've already vetted. It's really easy. You go through the process once. You fill out the form, tell us about your project, and you can get bids from multiple of our licensed contractors, or you can just hit get help and give us your full name and you know, email address and phone number and all that stuff, and it will get you personalized matches, and we can reach out to you and help you do that. So either way, you want to do it yourself. There's a lot of different ways to do it. We have a blog, we have our videos on YouTube, on TikTok. There's a lot of different ways to reach us. So, don't hesitate to reach out in any particular way, whether you're a DA, you want to search yourself, or if you want to have us help you. We're going to try to expand our hours in our call center to take more questions and calls. You can also hit us up at help@proshield.services. We really encourage you, like, subscribe to this channel. I'm happy to build videos to answer really specific questions and get real granular. We're going to do some high level stuff so you understand the ins and outs. I'm going to show you lots of scams and lots of things to watch out for, especially don't get me started on free roofs and, government services or government program or, hey, we got this program. There's no programs, right? Home improvement is a necessary component to keeping your home up to date, whether you're going to sell it, whatever. It's not cheap. It's not free. That's why you got to be really careful with your projects and plan them and really think about what you need to do. We're going to try to help you do that. We're going to be on your side, right? We are your advocate for picking out the right contractor to do a really important part of your home improvement journey here. So again, William Hodges with ProShield. You go to these other sites, you're going to see things that may feel similar to what we're doing, but you're not going to see them put their name and their face on it because they want to hide. They don't want to have anything to do with you. We're not hiding. We're here to tell you we are 1,000% pro consumer. We're here to balance the playing field. Think of us like the contractor you can call to answer any question. Call us, email us, comment on one of our videos, go see one of our social channels, ask any question you want. We're going to get back to you. We're going to help you out, and we will do anything we can. We'd love to help you with our services. We're going to continue to build more services here. So keep checking back, and I want to say thanks so much. It's been really, really nice to have this, and hopefully at some point we'll have a little bit longer sessions, and we can do some back and forth and take some calls as well. So have a great day. And again, please like and subscribe as that's the only thing that really matters in the life anymore. Because we don't like and subscribe, nobody else can see this and help other people. Thanks so much.